Good day and welcome to MFSQL Connector Advanced Reporting. This is part of a series and this particular video is about using the agent to refresh the data. This video will cover both the setup for SQL Agent, which is available and SQL Standard Edition. And it will also cover the setup of Windows Scheduler with a Powershell utility, which is available in Express. Before we start to set up the agent, a little bit of background. Previously, we have shown the capability of refreshing the class table by executing a procedure. But normally you would rely on other methods to call the update procedure rather than having to do it manually in SSMS. One of these methods to perform a regular update of the class tables and to pull the information from M files into SQL would be to schedule the updates by way of either a SQL agent in the case of a SQL Standard, or in the case of using SQL Express, you could resort to the PowerShell and Windows Scheduler method of doing this refresh of the data. So we're going to start off by doing the SQL Agent setup, and we go straight to SQL Agent and create a new agent. So let's get started in SQL Server. Let's create a new job and give it a name. It would be good to give a name that relates to the specific database for the connector. Although this refers to all of the classes in the connector, it is specific to a specific vault and a specific connector. If you have more databases, it may be necessary to have more than one agent. So let's create a step and give the step a name. There's only going to be one step in it. We then just assign the MFSQL Connector database that we're going to use. And then the next thing is to compile the script. So let's go to SSMS and see how this is the script is going to fit together. We're going to use SPMF update all included in app procedure, and it has three parameters. First of all, the update method equals 1. This is from M files to SQL. We're also going to indicate that we want to delete the or remove the deleted items from the class table, and then the final parameter is that we are going to specify to do incremental updates, and we set is incremental to 1. So that is the procedure that is going to be used to update all of the class tables that is included in the app. And then copy the instruction over to the step and save the step. Updates, the frequency of the updates. In this case, I'm actually setting it up for once a day. You could do it more regularly. I would suggest that you don't do it for more frequent than, let's say, every 5 minutes, just to give the time for the previous run to run through before you actually schedule another update. This particular method is not designed to effectively do transactional update for each individual transaction. There should be another method to use that So scheduling this for 5 minutes or longer is a good approach to use. Let's turn our attention to SQL Express, where we are not able to use a SQL agent. So MFSQL Connector provides a Powershell utility that can call the same procedure that we are calling through the SQL agent, but using PowerShell, and then this can then be scheduled with Windows Scheduler. Let me illustrate how to implement this utility. Navigate to the installation folder for the MFSQL Connector installation, and in the packages for your database you'll find the add-ons, and as part of the add-ons you will get the scheduler zip file. Copy this zip file and place it into a folder that on the server that you want to actually schedule. You could use the under C, the MFSQL Connector folder, but you can use any other folder also that you would like to create and maintain for the particular scheduling tasks. So I've created a folder for it, copy the zip file, and then unzip this zipped file to get all of the utilities files. You'll notice that there's a particular structure to it. There are bat files, the main operational file, as well as a XML file. This XML file needs to be updated for your particular environment. So the first part is to change the target server and then to change the target database. The default XML file includes an illustration to show that you can schedule more than one database in the same XML file, that it's able to run multiple databases. And I'm going to delete the extra entry in this XML to ensure that we only run the one database that we want to run for this particular instance of the scheduler. So once we've actually completed the updating of the XML file, we can save the file. And I think I have just remembered that I need to make another change. So let's go back into that file, and we need to update the application path to indicate where the installation files for this application is. So I've just updated the application path. And now I can update the bat file to make some changes into the bat file to point to the correct folder. So open the bat file, and in the bat file we will update the path for the application, for the command, so that it actually points to where the executable file is being saved in your particular instance. Don't change any of the other parameters, and we can then save this file. The final step, and before we complete the installation, there's one more setting that we need to go and update in the XML file. So we open the XML file again, and where it says that the process is included for the MF version update, we just change that to false, the delete history false, and we ensure that update all tables is true. The settings for the MF version update and deleted history update can be set to true if you are also implementing this PowerShell utility for this specific reason. Let's execute this and test it to ensure that it would run. As you can see, we didn't run it successfully, and we need to install the module for SQL Server into this machine so that it can actually use the SQL module for the installation. So let me talk you through how to do that part of the installation. It's a good time to highlight the README file. You'll notice that the README file provides full details for the installation and the background on the utility, but it also in particular show the prerequisites for the installation of the SQL module. And this is the requirement that why the installation failed, and we can update this by following the procedure in the utility that is specifically designed to provide you with some help to do this installation. The utility to be used is in the library folder. To use the module schedule install, we recommend that you run each individual line separately. To do that, open PowerShell, preferably the ISE, right-click, run as administrator. And then open the module install file from its location. When you've opened the module install package, then start to execute each individual line on its own. So we'll start by setting the execution policy if required, but it's likely that it would be required. So we reset the execution policy, install it from the PowerShell gallery. You may get this error in the PowerShell gallery from the notes that we've been able to determine. It is necessary to actually set the security protocol to TLS 1.2 to overcome this problem with the accessing the gallery. So if you get this error whereby it cannot find the gallery, then try to install it by first changing the security protocol. If you effectively then change the security protocol, then reinstall reattempt to install the package, it should come up with a warning to and just because it's an untrusted repository, say yes. You'll see that I've actually received a warning that it has already been installed, so I have installed it previously, but it should run through and do the installation. If you are on a site where you don't have access to the PowerShell gallery, you could download the item from the gallery, the SQL Server zip, unzip it to this particular folder, and then you can continue from there. Once you have completed the installation of the module, whether you do it manually or by grabbing it from the web, Then you can do an import of the module. Once it is imported, you can check that it is available, and this should effectively give me an indication that it has been installed in this particular machine. With the module installed, we can now go and execute the bat file to see whether it works. And what is happening now is the PowerShell is calling the procedure that we have loaded, and it comes back and says, I'm happy, I've updated all the tables. So we know that it was working. The final step is to go and schedule this PowerShell utility as part of the Windows scheduler. So we open the scheduler of Windows, open the tasks, and proceed to actually create a new task. So once the create task window is open, we can give the task a name. And what this task will do is it would run the PowerShell utility on a pre-scheduled basis, similar to the SQL job, but we're just using Windows Scheduler or Windows Services to actually trigger the update for the PowerShell. So we set it for, let's say, daily, and again, the time interval for calling it, I would suggest that should not be less than 5 minutes, but sometimes, you can do it, hourly or daily, to your heart's content. Start the process immediately, and then we link it to our PowerShell utility that we've created in the folder that we saved it in. We execute the bat file, and finish the scheduling of the task. We can test the scheduling by rerunning it from this point. And again, we get the confirmation that it has completed successfully. So this is how you would set up the PowerShell utility with the Windows scheduler to update the tables on a scheduled routine. This brings us to the end of this session. Thank you for listening. Let me know if you have any questions.